Hey everyone, how you doing? I hope you can all hear me. If you can let me know in the chat box in the comments that you can all hear me, that'll be awesome. Just so I know that the sound's working, basically, because I've got a lot of screens going on. We're going to cook in Katsu Curry tonight, which you probably know if you've tuned in and you've got this link. So welcome everybody. It's going to be a great little dish. I know that I've got Rob and Noel in, and Sean's in for sure, as well as Mimi's in. So welcome everybody. Do make yourself known in the chat. Introduce yourself, which will be super cool. What I want to try and do is, when we do these every month, if we can build the people who are joining in, and you join in every month, A, you're going to get some decent little recipes that you can cook at home for your family and enjoy and things like that. And B, we'll build up a little community of people who like to cook and talk about food, which is what this is about. So yeah, do make yourself known. I can see some of you guys have introduced yourself already, so thank you very much. I'll give it another 2 or 3 minutes, let anyone else join in who's coming. But yeah, so you should have all your ingredients, which I posted out. I hope that all worked okay. I was panicking a little bit today when I started to get emails saying certain things had bounced back, but I think it all worked out all right. So yeah. Hey Jane, how you doing, Rob? Heather's in, how you doing, Heather? And Sean, yeah. So let's make some katsu curry. This is a great little recipe. There's a number of ways that you can make it. This, what we're going to do tonight, is a really simple, really easy way, and it's kind of the one that if you've been to like Wagamama's or anything like that, it's very, very similar. It tastes very, very similar. There is a way of doing it with making the curry sauce out of carrots and things like that, which is very, very nice, but it's a little bit more intense, labour intense, shall we say, and we probably wouldn't get it done in an hour. But this is something that I probably make a couple of times a month easily. If I can't think of what to make, it's kind of a go-to, which is really, really good. It's dead simple. First thing we're going to do is make some rice. From the rice, we'll make the curry sauce, which is, again, like I say, really simple. And once the curry sauce is done and it's cooking away, we'll get the chicken deep fried. So I'll just go over quickly the things that you need to have to hand. Obviously, you've got all your ingredients, but you know you've got a list of. We've got our panko breadcrumbs, eggs, ginger, garlic, onions, flour. I'm using jasmine rice. You can use whatever rice you want, anything from about, I don't know, 75 grams to 100 grams per serving, something like that. I've got coriander, which I'm going to put in the rice. That's optional. I know everybody doesn't like coriander, but I quite like it, and it looks nice in the rice. So I'm going to put some of that in the rice at the end. We've got turmeric, coconut milk, a little bit of sugar, and then salt and pepper, obviously. And that's pretty much it, your oil that you need to cook in. As far as deep frying, I'm going to deep fry my chicken cutlets. You can shallow fry them if you want. You don't have to deep fry. No, not everybody likes to deep fry, which is fine. You're going to need a pan for your rice. You're going to need a pan for your sauce. And you're going to need a heavy bottomed pan for your frying. I'm using a small Dutch oven and I've just got 2 pots. You'll be able to see everything I'm doing. I'll give you an example now of what you see when I'm on my chopping board. You should be able to see what I'm doing on my chopping board here. When I'm on the hob, you'll be able to see what's going on the hob. And I've even got this fancy one where if I'm talking and chopping, you can see both. So that's super cool. That's just for you, that, Rob. Just for you, mate. Right. Okay, so maybe he's already starting to prep. That's cool. I'm going to do it as I'm going to prep mine and peel the ginger and chop the garlic and everything and the onion as I'm talking to you. This should be no longer than an hour. It's midweek. You never really want a recipe that's going to take longer than an hour anyway. Normally it'll take you about 20 minutes to half an hour to cook once you've done it a few times. It's going to take an hour this time just because I'm going to be going through and talking about everything I'm doing. So without further ado, I'm going to get my rice on. So get your rice. I'm going to go off to the side and give it a quick wash under the tap. Just going to keep rinsing it until it runs clear. And then we'll get that in a pan and get it on. If you can let me know that the sound is okay as well, that would be awesome. You can hear me loud and clear. There's no background buzzing or anything like that. So if you've not already, give your rice a wash. Again, it doesn't really matter what rice you're using. I'm going to get that in a pan. And then everybody has their own recipe for rice and what they do. Mine's really simple, so I'll put enough water in just to cover the rice by probably like a fingertip. I'll see if I can get that on. Sorry, on there. You can see the rice is just slightly covered by the water. I'm going to season that with some salt. Don't be shy with the salt. Don't want bland rice. And again, this is totally optional. So go into your spice cupboard. If you want, you don't have to. You could just season it with salt and pepper. That's fine. I quite like putting a little star anise and a couple of, you can get them out, cracked cardamom pods. If you've never tried this, try it next time you make rice. It's really nice. Just gives it like a nice fragrance. And where am I? I'll throw some cloves in there as well. The only thing I would say is if you're going to do this, especially with the cloves, is remember how many you put in. Because you don't want to bite into those. There we go. So, lid on. I'm going to whack that on the heat. Probably medium high. I'm just going to bring that to the boil. Once you start to get it to a boil, I'm going to turn it down low. And once you can't see any more water on the top, I'm going to turn the heat off and just leave the lid on and just let it steam finish. You'll have perfect rice every time. It takes about 20 minutes. I'll do it now and it can just stay in the pot and it's ready. If I start to go a little bit too quick, let me know in the comments, or if you want me to go over anything that I've done. If you missed it or anything like that, just let me know in the comments and I'll go back. This is a really relaxed recipe. There's not going to be anything where, you know, you've got to do it there and then, or you miss it. That's not how this recipe is. Can't hear you clapping, mate. Yeah, so there should be a sound gate. So like when I clap, you can't hear it, but you'll be able to hear me talking, which is good. It means when I'm banging pans around, you can't hear it. So our rice is on. So the first thing we're going to do next is get our onion ready. So do that. I'm not going to teach you how to suck eggs with how to chop an onion. I think everybody knows how to chop an onion. The one thing I will say is you kind of want to fine dice as much as you can. Just simply because, I mean, we're going to blitz the sauce anyway, but the finer you dice this, the easier it's going to be to blitz it at the end. And we don't want any cut fingers. I'm very aware that I'm on camera and hoping that doesn't happen. Got plenty of plasters on standby, if so. Try not waste any of the onion, just get rid of the core. And then what we're going to do is when this onion is diced, we're going to get that straight in the pan with a little bit of oil. And start to cut that down slowly. There we go. We'll get our pan on. Medium low. And we'll get some oil in there. When I can find where I put my oil. Vegetable oil or rapeseed oil is fine. Miss getting the ingredients for this to do like, but we'll definitely give it a go watching back. There's different gear TV. Cool, that'd be awesome. Let us know how you get on. If you can all as well, when the dish is done, before you tuck in, take pictures of it. I'll start a thread in the Facebook group. If you're not in the Facebook group, join it. It's awesome. The I Can You Can Cook Facebook group. I'll start a thread in there with like a picture of what I've cooked, and then if you guys can do the same and show what you ended up with, let us know what you thought of it, and all that kind of stuff. That'd be cool. We're just going to let that onion cook away for a little bit, a few minutes while we get our ginger and garlic. Give it a season. Bit of salt and pepper. What knives am I using? I've got Wusthof. You can use any knife, just a chef's knife. I'm just using this because I've literally just sharpened it, and it's a bit fancy. So, with your garlic, I'm gonna. No, I'm not, because I can't find it. I did have a garlic crusher somewhere, but I don't know where it is, so I'll just chop them. I feel like I spent half my life peeling garlic. It's a nightmare. So we'll get the skin off. Get rid of that. And obviously it's good practice to clean as we go. I know you know that, Rob. I know you're all over that, cleaning as you go. Just give garlic a little crush. And chop it up. You can go as fine as you want or as coarse as you want, because it's all going to get blitzed at the end anyway. I really like garlic, so the more you chop your garlic, the finer you chop your garlic or crush your garlic, you get a more garlicky taste. So that's there. So my rice has come to a boil, so I'm going to turn that right down. Just let that simmer away. Okay. Yeah, so again, it's totally up to you how much ginger and garlic you put in. This is the good thing about recipes, you can change them to what you like. I'm using a piece of ginger probably about that big. It's actually yet to be peeled yet, so I'm going to get the peel off it first. Can you see that? Is that? Try a bigger screen. Is that any good to you? Size of my hand. Again, if I'm going a little bit too quick, just tell me to slow down. And I'm just going to make this in an easier shape to cut. Normally I would use the teaspoon trick to peel my ginger, but I didn't get a teaspoon out, so I'll just do it the old school way. Is everyone all right? Is everyone keeping up? So same thing with the ginger. It's a fine chop. Lovely. That'll do us. Again, don't worry too much. We are going to blitz it. Let's have a look. Comments. So has anyone, by any chance, made katsu curry before? I'd be interested to know. Again, if your rice is on, keep an eye on it. And like I say, as soon as you see the water disappear, you're going to turn the heat off. Some people may have already made the rice, which is fine. Everyone kind of makes rice different. I've actually got a rice cooker, but I prefer to cook it this way. All super, daughter in action. Well done. Make sure we get pictures. I want to see big smiley faces with the cups. Right, so my onions now are starting to get a little bit transparent. Where's my spatula? Which is what we want. We don't really want to brown them. If they get a little bit brown, it's fine. We'll go on the hob cam for you. Yeah, so go a little bit brown. That's fine. Oh, sorry, not getting a... There you go. Bit of focus. Sorry about that. You can see they're starting to get a little bit transparent. That's exactly what we want. So what I'm going to do is get my garlic and my ginger. Whack that in. Awesome. What I'll have to do, I'll have to remember, I'm not going to do it while we're live. But I'll have to remember to fix the focus on that camera so that it stays focused on the hob, because when I do anything closer, it's focusing on that. So I do apologise if it goes out of focus a little bit. Okay. Looking good. Right, so what we're going to do is we're going to let that cook away for, I need to change the screen, don't I? Sorry about that. We're going to let that cook away for 3-4 minutes. If that, it's already on its way there. You'll know it's ready to move on because you'll be able to really start to get like the aroma from it. You'll smell the garlic and you'll smell the ginger. What we don't want to do is put any colour on the ginger or the garlic. We just want to soften it. And it won't take long. The finer you've cut your ginger, the quicker that will be. We're going to go from there with, let's go back on the hob. There we go. So from there, we are going to add our turmeric and curry powder and flour. But we're going to go in with the turmeric and curry powder first. And the reason being is we want to cook the spices out a little bit. And that'll just make them more intense. So we'll start with the curry powder. There we go, I've got a lot of it left actually. So I'm going to go 1, 2, they're not heat them, so I'm going to add a little bit more. There we go. Big spoons, tablespoons, 2. If you like curry, go 2.5. I probably wouldn't go to 3 because this is only going to make 2 servings. And then we want a teaspoon of turmeric. Get that in there. And once that's in, when you find your spatula that you put down, I forgot where you put it, we're going to stir it. And we're on a low heat here. Just check on our rice. Yep, so that heat can come off. Lid on. Take it off the heat and set it aside. And just let that steam away. Back to the onions and spices. Don't worry about this. You concentrate more on the rice. You don't want to burn the rice. If you burn the rice, it's not the end of the world. We'll just start again and make some more. But if you follow these instructions, you shouldn't burn it. What you don't want to do is burn this. And again, you'll be able to smell all the spices cooking. A really nice curry smell. And the turmeric. The garlic and the ginger coming through as well. Smells amazing, that. Okay. So we'll sound there. And then you want to get your flour. Just give my spoon a wash. Excuse me. And all the flour is for here, this is your thickener. So this is going to thicken the sauce when we add our vegetable stock. So if you like a thick sauce, do a heat tablespoon. If you like a thinner sauce, just do a level tablespoon. I like a fluid sauce. The other thing that you can do is, as well, you can sort of use the amount of stock that you add to determine the consistency of your sauce. So it's kind of a twofold, using the flour and the amount of liquid that you add. Now we want to cook the flour out again. Raw flour doesn't taste very nice, so we want to keep that on the heat, keep it moving. And what you should have now is like a really dry consistency with your onion, your garlic and your ginger. Cook through. How are we doing in the comments? Everybody good? Yes, Mimi, I forgot that your mum was Japanese. I bet she has. How are we getting on, Rob? Noel, you doing well? Okay, so chicken stock is next. So get your chicken stock, make sure it's mixed. Nothing worse than chicken stock when you pour it in and you're left with all the good stuff in the jar. So we're going to add this. Start off with a little bit. Let's create that sauce, and the smells that you get when you start to add this in now is just insane. There we go. Now I'm not going to add all here. I'm going to add about probably 2/3, and then I'm going to see what the consistency is like, because I went a little bit heavier than I normally do with the flour as I was chatting away. And you just want to keep that stirring, and straight away you can see you've basically got a curry sauce there already, and it will already taste amazing. But we're going to keep that moving, get it as smooth as possible. You're not going to get it perfectly smooth because you've got your onion in there and your chopped garlic and ginger. That's why we're going to blitz it at the end and get a nice smooth sauce. Is the images all right? Can you see everything good? Eventually with these, I'm going to do them as a Zoom, which you can just join in on your phone. If you've not got a laptop or computer with a webcam, you just do it off your phone, which will be really cool. I just need to work out how to do it with my Mac. And then we can all like literally chat as we're doing these recipes. Right, I'm going in with the rest. Again, it's entirely up to you how much you put in. If you're unsure, don't put it all in, because as with anything, you can add stuff, but you can't take it away. So if you put too much in, it's going to be too watery, and you probably have to do a cornflour slurry. I mean, it's not the end of the world, because you could do a cornflour slurry and thicken it up, but it's just another step that you don't need. If you just add your stock little by little, so you get the consistency that you want. That's lovely. So I'm going to leave that cooking away. That's almost ready. We've got the coconut milk to go in there yet, and then we're going to get that in the blitzer. So I'll just leave that slow on a really low heat, just cooking away. And I'll get my coconut milk and my soy sauce ready to go. I'll go back on the main screen. So yeah, so when this is done, it would be really cool if you show everyone what you've ended up with. So don't dive straight in. Good art. Oops, all in for me. Don't worry, Sean. It's fine. It's fine. Don't worry. Loving all the angles. Yes, thank you very much. Martha here. Smells amazing. Thanks, Martha. Wait till you taste it. It's even better. It's even better. Right, okay. So I'm going to go back to the hob cam, and then for the time being we'll be okay, because I can hear my curry bubbling away, which is fine. Just keep your eye on this. You don't want it to burn. Keep the heat low now. It doesn't need to be any higher than the lowest setting. I'm actually on a big ring on the lowest setting, so it's probably a touch too high. But what I'm going to do is, when I've done this bit and shown you what I'm doing, I'm going to pop it on the small ring on the lowest setting. So, soy sauce. Again, this is personal preference. Soy sauce is, it adds like a salty element. I'm going to go about a tablespoon. But again, you're at that point where if you're unsure, don't go mad. Just add a little bit. And then when this sauce is ready, the soy sauce is something that you can add at the end as well to season, because we are going to season it, taste it and season it at the end, because all of our curries will taste slightly different, because we're using different brands of things that have been in the cupboard for different amounts of time. Spices and things, the flavours are less intense than fresh. So coconut milk. This was a 200ml tin, and I used half of it yesterday. So this is about 100 mils. It's probably, for me, as much as I'd go, because I quite, like I said before, I like the taste of curry. But if you're not mad on like the spice of a curry, or if it's a little bit too spicy, just add more coconut milk, and that'll just take that heat down. And as you can see, you've got yourself a curry sauce. Yeah, you can taste that now if you want. It's delicious. Okay, beautiful. Right, I'm going going to pop that on the back hob on low. And just leave that for a minute to cook away. Get rid of that. What you're washing as you're going, Rob. So that's your curry sauce pretty much done. We've just got to blitz it, but we're going to do that at the end. I'm going to leave it on the low hob so it's hot. It's piping hot when we serve. So I'm going to blitz it and serve, and that's it. So the next thing that we need is, we know our rice is done. That's fine. That's not going to cook anymore in there. It's just steaming away. It smells amazing. It's the chicken. So make sure you're using a chopping board that is just for chicken. I'm just going to give my knife a quick rinse. And if I'm not mistaken, I think I heard somewhere, and Mimi, you'll probably correct me on this, does katsu mean cutlet? So it's like chicken cutlet curry. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. So we're not using the whole breast. You can use a whole breast. I've done it before. We just use like a whole breast. But it's a lot harder to, unless you bash the breast and you sort of flatten it out so it's even thickness all the way through. I'm using gloves just because I'm going to be touching cameras and screens and things. Obviously, you've got a sink, so you can just clean your hands and handle the chicken. You can use gloves. It's entirely up to you. Yeah, as I was saying, if you're going to use a full chicken breast, put it in between some cling film or in a Ziploc. Get yourself a meat tenderizing hammer, one of these bad boys, or a rolling pin. Give it a bash so that it's like the same thickness all the way through. You don't want it like flat, but just so it's the same thickness all the way through. But what we're going to do is, I'm going to get the biggest, I've got two here. Let's get the biggest. Which is the biggest? I think probably that one. Okay. I'll go to my chopping board camera. And all we're going to do is we're going to get two cutlets out of this. They're not going to be the same size. I can tell you that off the bat just because of the way the shape of a chicken breast is. But we're going to do the best we can. So we're going to start cutting, have our hand flat on the top. We're not going to hold it like this and cut that way. Our fingers are always going to be out of the way. We're going to start at the fat end, hand on the top, central in the fat end, and then as we cut through, we're not going to stay in the center. We're just going to come off. So you're going to come out of the chicken around here. So you're going to have one smaller, more round cutlet than the other. Because if you stay tapered, if you taper it so they're both tapered to the end, and you come out the thin end in the center, all you've done is you've made two that are not the same thickness. Does that make sense? So we're going to start the fat end. And I'll try and show you on camera. So I'm coming out before the end. Can you see? Yeah. So I've got two cutlets, one more rounder and one with kind of the tail on. That's always my one. And that'll be the wife's. So, Rob, that one's Noelle's, the little one's yours, all right? Right, give my knife a wash and a rinse, keep things clean. And I'm just going to season these. Little bit of salt and pepper, don't be shy. Chicken is one of those meats that it needs seasoning. It's not bland by any stretch, but you know, if you don't season it, it's not the best. Pepper's optional here. I mean, pepper's not really something that you'd use really on chicken katsu, but I like it. So I'm just going to add a little bit. Yeah. So we're going to put that to one side, and what that's going to do, we've seasoned it with salt. The salt's going to draw out some of the moisture from the chicken breast, and as it's sat there, it will draw it out, and then the chicken breast will suck that back in. So it's going to draw out moisture, and it's going to suck in the salty moisture back in, so it just seasons throughout the meat. So I'm going to set that to one side for the minute. And we're going to do our dredging station. So I think what I'll do, I think probably the easier way would be this one, because you can see the three bowls. So I've got 3 bowls, one for flour, one for egg, one for panko. before I do that, I'm just going to check on my sauce, make sure it's bubbling away nicely. It's not on too hot or anything like that. It's lovely. Perfect. Just keep an eye on your pans. Again, just checking on the rice. Bob on. Right. Let's do it. So we'll get our flour. We don't need loads because the flour is basically just to coat the chicken so that the egg sticks to the chicken. If you don't use the flour and you go straight into the egg, you can do it and then go straight into the panko. It'll be fine and it'll cook. But then when you go to slice your chicken up at the end to serve, all the coating will just fall off. Cheers, Luke. Good to have you in, mate. Good to have you in. Hope you're well. So I'll do 2.5 teaspoons of flour. Let's see who's the messiest whisker now, shall we? We're going to go 2 eggs. I mean, I'm going to do 1 because if I was cooking for the family, for the 4 of us, I'd do 2 eggs because I'd have 4 cutlets. I've only got 2 cutlets, so I'm just going to do 1 egg. If you're cooking for more than 2, put the 2 eggs in. So I'll get rid of that egg. Might fall in on the floor. Get that in and give it a whisk. Everybody all right? Everybody keeping up? Different gear. Sometimes I use spice and realise the date on it was over 5 years. Do you know what? It's still all right to use. It just won't be as potent. You can still use it. I've done that. This curry powder that I'm using is probably 3 years old. Yeah. Get it whisked. Put the effort into whisking it. You know, don't still have separate egg yolk and egg white. It does make a difference when it comes to battering it. There we go. By the way, if it seems like I'm reading your comments a little bit late, there is a slight delay through me being here and you seeing it. So you're not seeing me exactly live. I think there's about a 20-second delay. So yeah, give that a rinse. And then the panko in this one. We're not finished with the normal flour yet. We're going to season that as well. Good stuff, Rob, good stuff. I need a little knife, I haven't got the strength to open my panko. If, like me, you're opening a fresh packet with your panko, either get one of those clips, which are like this when you're finished, save the rest, or put it in a fresh Ziploc bag, because they will go soft and you want these to stay crispy, excuse me, for the next time that you use them. Okay, my little Rice Krispies. That's that. Okay, so your flour, bit of salt and pepper. And also, what I like to do is some of the curry powder. Only about half a teaspoon in there. Give that a mix. Yep, make sure it's well mixed in with the flour. Done. Right, okay, I'm going to go back to the hob cam and I'm going to show you my deep fat fry. So you might differ here, you might be shallow frying, which means you're going to do it in probably a lot less oil and you're going to do one side and flip it, which is totally fine. You can do that this way, that way, and it is great. I'm going to deep fat fry mine just because it's quicker and I prefer it deep fat fried. You want to get your oil up to about 160. If you haven't got a thermometer, a way to test if it's hot enough to put your chicken in, because the one thing you don't want to do is put your chicken in when the oil's not hot enough. You want the oil to be up to temp before you put the chicken in, because if the oil's not hot enough, all that'll happen is all this coating that you put on, it's just going to wash off in cool oil, and you want it to start cooking as soon as it hits the fat. So if you get a wooden spoon or a chopstick or anything like that, when you dip the wood into the oil, it'll start to bubble vigorously. Make sure it is bubbling vigorously, not just like little bits, and it's hot enough. If you're not using a temperature gauge, a thermometer or anything like that, you'll be fine. Just don't get the oil too hot, because you don't want the oil too hot. If you get the oil up to about 200 degrees, all that's going to happen is it's going to cook the panko breadcrumbs really quick, and they're going to go really dark brown before the chicken's cooked inside. It's only going to take about, say these, mine are going to take, from the thickness of them, probably about 6 or 7 minutes, depending on the thickness that you've got. But remember as well, when we take them out, we're going to leave them to rest for a minute or two, so they will carry on cooking as well. So don't worry too much, kind of just gauge off how long mine are in. So when I put mine in and I take mine out, use that as a rough gauge as to how long your chicken should be in, and you won't be far off. And we'll check it when you slice it. When you slice it, if it's not cooked, just whack it back in. It's not ideal. You don't really want to have to do that, so just try and be careful. That's cool. Big shout out to Martha and Penny. Obviously a big shout out to Martha and Penny. I hope you're awesome and you're helping your mum, which is good to hear. Daisy and Lily are at athletics tonight, but they should be home anytime soon. So yeah, I want to see you guys cooking it next time. Obviously not the frying bit. Right, so what we're going to do is we're going to bread our chicken once we get this oil hot. So I'll go to Hobcam. Or not, yeah, not bread. Yeah, bread the chicken in a minute. So I'll go to Hobcam. I'm going to use this hob because it's the hottest one on my cooker, my wok hob. I'm going to whack that up full. I'm using a small Dutch oven. There's oil in there already, which I used last night, which I've drained and sieved and cleaned today. So I've got a little bit there because I try and not waste stuff if I don't have to. I'm going to top that up. If you're deep fat frying like me, whatever pan you're using, if you use a deep fat fryer, great, because there you can control the temperature, which is fantastic. If you're not, if you're using a heavy bottom pan like me, it's got a lid, put it on because it'll warm up quicker. Don't fill your pan more than a third, just because as soon as you put something else in there, you got to think of the volume of liquid that's in the pan. If you put something else in there, that's more volume, and it's going to make the oil rise in the pan, and if it starts to bubble, it's going to overflow. And this is why people get really scared of deep fat frying. Deep fat frying is fine. It's if you're careful, it's safe as shallow frying. It's just quicker. You just got to be careful and just follow a few rules. So don't fill your pan more than a third, and just don't put like anything like liquid into hot oil. Like, you know, if you drop a splash of water in hot oil, it's going to, just don't do that. So while that's heating up, before I do, let me get my thermometer on there. Give the curry a stir. Keep your eye on your curry. Where is my thermometer? Here she is. There goes. Dutch oven's red hot already. Okay. So we're aiming for about 160. I will do the wooden spoon test as well, just for the hell of it. Let's get our chicken breaded. You're going to want to get yourself a saucer or small plate or another chopping board just to put your chicken on that's breaded, that's ready to go. So have that ready. Or, I mean, you can leave it in there if you want, I suppose. Okay. So we'll get our chicken. Now remember, you should still have your sugar. We're not going to add the sugar straight away. We're going to add the sugar at the end, because you need to be really careful with the sugar that you don't put too much in. What am I after? A glove. So how's Mum getting on, Martha? Is she doing well? Okay, so basically we're going to go flour both sides. Make sure that every bit of the chicken is covered. So if you can see like pink bits, press the flour in, and then we're going to shake off excess. We don't want loads of flour because it'll just clog up your egg. Shake off the excess into the egg. Again, we want to make sure that it's fully covered in the egg. Drip off any excess and then straight into the panko. So, chicken cutlet in, pressing it into the flour, and then flip it. And then make sure it's up against the sides as well, so around the sides of the chicken, it's fully coated. Okay, I'm happy with that. Shake off the excess into the egg. Press it into the egg, make sure all the nooks and crannies get egg on them. Flip it, and again, just make sure there's egg all the way up the sides. Shake off the excess. And into the panko. Good thing about the panko is you can give it a shake and it kind of works and does the work for you. Flip. And you should end up something like that. You see, nice crunchy pieces. And I'm going to pop that on my side plate, ready to go in the deep fat fryer. We'll do our small cutlet into the flour. Into the egg, just keeping an eye on my oil. Again, if I'm going too fast, just let me know in the chat and I can stop, I can pause, I can slow down, I can go back over anything. And then straight into the panko. And onto my side plate. I've got my 2 fillets coated, lovely. Pop these ready to go to the side. Get rid of this. And I've got a bag here, so I'm going to again clean as I go. I'm not going to throw the panko yet, just in case. I nearly put the egg in the bin, which wouldn't have been a clever idea. We'll keep that just for the minute. The reason being, just while the cutlets are sat there, if you get any ball patches from when you pick them up and things like that, you can top them up with the panko. Again, just try not to waste things. Right. My oil is now up to about 150. So if you put your oil on at the same time as I did, on full pelt, you should be around the same. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn it down to really low. You want to turn it down to really low because once the oil hits the temperature, it doesn't need a lot of heat underneath to keep it at that temperature. You just want to bring it up as quick as possible. Yeah, so it'll keep rising. We want to cook these at 160, so I'm going to let mine get to about 165, 170. Again, I'll do the wooden spoon test. The reason I'm going to go past the temperature of 1 is because as soon as I drop the cold chicken fillets in, the whole temperature of the oil is going to drop. And we want to keep that temperature high because we want to, basically we're flash frying the chicken. So yeah, we don't want it to drop too far because the coating will just come off in the oil. So if I flick to, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this on the hot cam, but I'll try. So we're at 168. Can you see that? Yeah, plenty of bubbles coming off, which means we're hot enough. So if you're getting that on your oil, now turn your oil down to low. You're hot enough. And I'm going to cook. Do I want to go with the 2? I think the 2 will fit in this, so I'll probably cook the 2 at the same time. I'm going to put the big one in first, just because it's bigger, so it's going to need a little bit more cooking time. I'm going to keep hold of the top of the chicken, and I'm going to sort of like swim the bottom into the oil like this, and then pull it to me, and then lay it in away. So if there's any splash, it's splashing away from me. And the same with the small one, and it should just start bubbling away like that, as you can see there. Yep. And we're going to get rid of that saucer because it's had raw chicken on it. So if I go back to main, What I'm now going to do is get another chopping board, or if you haven't got another chopping board, another saucer with some kitchen roll on it, and that's what we're going to use to drain any excess fat. So I've got a chopping board, I'll get some kitchen roll, or even like a cake drying rack would work as well. I just use kitchen roll because it kind of sucks the oil out. I try and get rid of as much as possible. So I'm going to set that to one side there. Don't need that. That's cooking away, that's fine. Temperature dropped to around 160, which is great, and now it's started to raise back up to about 162, something like that. I'm going to pop the lid on, and I'm going to turn my fan on. If the fan noise, it shouldn't come through, but if the fan noise comes through and it's really annoying, let me know in the chat and I'll turn it off. I just don't want my kitchen smelling of hot oil. So we're kind of on the home stretch now. What I think we'll do while that chicken is cooking, it should take about 6 minutes. So because I'm going to be talking, I can talk for Britain and I'll get carried away. So I'm going to set myself a little timer for 6 minutes. And that way I know the chicken is almost ready. It's going to take a little bit more than 6 minutes. By the way, cheers. I always have a little beer when I'm cooking. Rob's just reminded me in a text message that he's having a little beer. So cheers, Rob, and cheers anyone else who's having a tipple. Yeah, so temperature's holding. Your chicken should be in, I think. Yeah, should we blitz up? No, yeah, we'll blitz it now. We'll blitz it now. So you can do this two ways. You can use a stick blender. If you've got a stick blender, it's fine. You can use a food processor on like the sort of dicing, chopping with a blade. Or you can use one of these like juicy blitzer things, which is what I'm going to use. So get that off there. I'm just going to give, because I did turn my curry off just for a second whilst I was talking. I'm going to give that another blast. The heat, a stir. And if you're using silicone utensils, they really help get every last drop out of your bowl, which is super cool. Plus, they don't ruin your non-stick pans, which is a bonus. So we're going to get it all in there, or at least everything that's kind of, lumpy. So all the onion, garlic, and ginger. And get the lid on. You've seen how thick mine was. I will probably, once I've blitzed it, it's probably going to go a little bit thicker. So I'll probably add. I've just had a little bit of water to thin it, but I'm going to see how it is first. So check on my chicken. Beautiful, beautiful. Even though I'm deep frying, I do like to get into the habit of turning things in the deep fryer as well, just so it definitely gets an even cook. You can see it's starting to go golden. Can you see that? They look beautiful. They're going to be insanely good. Right. I haven't got a plug on this movable island, so I'm going to have to go over there. I do apologise. You can still hear me because I've got my phone on. I'm just going to blitz this. Obviously, if you like it a little bit coarse, don't blitz it as much. I like mine really smooth. I used to like it coarse, but then because I'm doing it for the kids, I do it a lot smoother, and I really like it smooth now. I like at the end when I can mix it in with my rice. You've got rice there. Okay. Smell. How are we getting on, everyone? Hey, Noel. You'll smash this, Noel. You're a very capable cook. Smells so good. It's the only thing with these are great, but the blade's at the bottom of the jug, so trying to get everything out is a nightmare. So what I'm going to do, because it probably is a touch too thick. It's actually not too bad. I'm just going to get a little bit of water out the kettle. Pop that in. Pop the lid back on. Give it a shake. Pour that in. Bro, that's done with. Mix that in. And now, before I put this back on the hob, give it a taste. You know what? It's not too bad, that. Sugar. Pinch, half a teaspoon. Don't put loads in, just put a little bit in, taste, and see what you think. And give it time to dissolve as well. Don't taste straight away because the sugar won't have dissolved. Keep mixing. How are we finding it, by the way, everyone that's here? I mean, I think it's going to be a lot better when I'm able to do it via Zoom and we can chat and I can have like more people on screen and I can have an actual conversation, two-way conversation. I think that's going to make the experience tons better, but this is all right, isn't it? Okay, let's trace. I think that's the one, you know. I think that's the one. That is lovely. Okay. So I'm going to put that back on the heat, really, really, really low, just on the edge, just to stay hot. Check my time, 30 seconds, that's all right. Go back to hob cam. These are done for me. Maybe that one a few more minutes. Okay, I'll get my chopping board. Pop that on there. I'm gonna leave that one in for a minute. And then we'll get that one out. I'll give that another, like, I don't know, 30, 40 seconds. So I'm going to check my chicken. I've got one of these. If you've got one of these, great. It's basically a meat probe. Yeah, so you just basically stick this needle into whatever it is you're cooking. It has to be meat, it can be whatever. It'll give you a reading. Chicken, it says on here, chicken 74 degrees C. I normally take my chicken off whatever it's cooking. If it's cooking in the oven about 65, and then just let the heat carry on cooking it for another few degrees, and that's perfect for me. A nice juicy chicken. So let's see what this is. It's my timer. There we go. Oh, it's this that's beeping. Yeah, so that's telling me that is 73.5 degrees on there. So that's done. So we'll check the other one. Get the other one off. Turn our heat off in the oil. Very important. Don't forget to turn your heat off. Yep. Get that on there. And cover. And I'm going to take this thermometer off now. Don't need that. If you've got a lid on your oil, cover it. It'll stop the smells, which I think is why a lot of people don't like to deep fry because of the smells. But oh, keeps beeping at me. Yeah, perfect. That'll keep cooking for another degree or so. So that should be nice and juicy. Give my thermometer a quick rinse off. Job done. Right, I'm going to leave them to rest for a minute. Let's get ourselves a plate. I can turn that off now. Could you hear the fan, by the way, or was the sound gate thing doing its job? 2 plates. In fact, I'm not going to put them on there. I'm going to put it on this. And what I'm going to do, see, I've got these. You don't have to do this. You could just scoop your rice. I've got these. These are things that you put when you're doing like burgers and smashed burgers with cheese on top in a pan or on a cast iron or your barbecue. You pop them on top and it creates steam and melts the cheese quicker. I'm going to use them for my rice. So I'm going to fill them with rice. and then flip so I get like a nice fancy dormer rice. So that's ready to go. That's ready to go. My chicken is resting. Let's get our rice. Yep, get rid of the lid. Don't need that now. But what I'm going to do is get myself a little spoon. And if you've put things in, like my star anise and my cardamom pods, I'm going to get them out now. Because if you've ever bitten into a clove, you'll know why you want them out. Which is why I try and not stir my rice and mess around with it. I just let it cook. Okay. That's that. Now I need wooden spoon. I mean, I don't know if you can see that. Perfect. Perfect rice. It's perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Jasmine rice is a little bit stickier anyway. If you're using long grain rice, you should have really nice fluffy rice. Okay. Tastes good. I'm going to season it a little bit. A little bit of salt. Bro. Set that aside for a minute. I'm going to get myself some coriander. How's everyone getting on? Those meatballs are great. Got one off. Yes, brill. I've got a fancy one. I've got like a cordless one as well. I use for roasts. Once you use them, you never look back. I've not told everyone on the group, but a company has reached out to me and really likes the group. Funnily enough, someone who works there must have just randomly joined the group, and they asked me to review one of their meat pros. But instead of reviewing it, what I said we'd do, because I've already got loads, I don't need it. It would just be having it for the sake of having it because it was free. I said, well, what about if I do a giveaway in the group? So they're sending me a brand new one, and it's an expensive one. I think they're about 80 quid. So they're sending me it. I'm going to do a giveaway on the group, I think. I'm not sure what or how to win it, but we'll do it. So chop up your coriander. Not super fine, but you don't want big chunks either. Again, this is optional. If you don't like coriander, don't put it in. If you've not got any coriander, it's fine. I just think it makes the rice look nice. I like the taste. Oh, shoot. Mix that in with the rice, and the heat from the rice will darken the coriander leaves in there, and it's fine. It smells amazing as well when it first goes in. How are we getting on, Rob? You keeping up? Or are you just, did you say you were drinking before? Noelle's doing the cooking. Again, let me know, guys, on the sound quality, sound okay, sound work, everything work all right. So I'm going to get my little dish. You could use anything. If you've got like a little bowl, a little dessert bowl, or anything like that, or anything like a ramekin, use a ramekin. Don't have to, you could just spoon it in. I'm just going to be fancy. Got a bit fancy since I started doing Instagram and that, so. Spoon the rice in. And the beauty of the jasmine rice as well is it keeps its shape really well. There we go. How about you, Mimi? How are you guys getting on? And then dead easy. Plate on top. Flip. Tap. And that's it. It's done. Fancy rice. I'm going to try and move it now because it's kind of gone to the middle. Try and move it without breaking up. Oh, perfect. Gotta love jasmine rice. Right, I'm going to put that to one side to keep it warm because I'll be plating up another plate for Anna. What I'll do is just get rid of these bits of coriander. I'll show you this chicken now. Okay, get myself a knife. Where's my knife that I washed earlier? There we go. Main and chop, so we're on there. You see that? Look at that, it's beautiful. Beautiful chicken. So now what we want to do is we're just gonna, and again, you don't have to do this, you can whack that on the plate now as it is. Whack that on the plate, done. I like to cut it, because when you go Wagamamas, that's what they do. But you're not gonna hear that because of the sound gate, but that's proper Instagram. So we're just gonna cut it into slices. And do you see what I mean about the coating staying where it should be? That's because you mix your egg properly. So crunchy. And just to show you, so we can get one. You should have really nice, hot, juicy chicken. Yeah, so we're going to get that. Like this. And then if I go to my main screen, we'll get our bowl ready. Actually, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll do it that way. I mean, you might not be interested how I'm plating up, but just in case you are. So you perfectly cooked chicken will go in there. I'm not going to slice the other one just yet because as soon as you slice it, it starts to cool down. So we've got that on there. Not finished yet. I'm going to give our sauce a quick stir. Get myself a ladle. Then with your curry sauce, in fact, I'm going to move that around there because I've got a bit of salad to go on as well. With our curry sauce, pour it on. And then a little bit of salad, and I loved chopped carrot. A bit of salad on there just to finish it off and add a bit of colour. And then what I'd also do is get myself, now normally I would make a dressing with sweet chili sauce, a little bit of white wine vinegar or red wine vinegar, and some oil, but I wasn't very organised and I forgot, so I'm just going to go straight on with the sweet chili sauce as a dressing. And I think you should end up with something that looks like that. And I think that is bang on. Clean up my plate, be a bit chefy about it. What do you guys think? I think that's really, really good. So I'm going to take some pictures for my Insta and promo for this. I managed to get it in an hour and get it done in an hour, which is really, really cool. Get some pictures, all the different angles for Instagram, obviously. And it would be really nice to see what you guys ended up with. Are you happy with how yours turned out? And the proof is in the pudding. I'll try it out. Get some of the chicken. The best bit is the end crispy bit. There's nothing about that that you cannot love. It's not too hot. It's not too spicy. If it's a little bit too hot for you, just add more coconut milk. You can do that at this stage while it's in the pot. That's why you always taste as you go and sort of cater your sauces to your palate rather than what a recipe book's telling you. If it needs more salt, add more salt. It shouldn't need more salt. The soy sauce should have done that job. Plus with the curry powder, it always adds a saltiness to it. But I think that's amazing. Let me know what you think. And yeah, get your photographs before you tuck in. As soon as I finish on here, I'm going to start a thread on the Facebook group. If you're not in the Facebook group, get on it. If you're not on Facebook, just start a Blag Facebook account just to post in I Can, You Can Cook Facebook group and share what you're cooking. Because I love just to get ideas off other people as well. Rob's kitchen supervisor tonight. We've already started the washing up. Good stuff. Good stuff. Best katsu curry pick wins it. I've not got it yet, so I might do it on the next cook along. But I'll tell you what I am going to do is I'm going to get some mugs made and aprons with the I Can, You Can Cook logo on. I was going to get them for myself anyway, but I might get a couple extra. I do them as giveaways as well, which would be quite cool. Just a bit of fun in it. But yeah. Cheers, everybody. Thank you for joining in and not having me stood here on my own on the internet, cooking a meal to nobody. So really, really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope you have a really nice meal at the end of it. I'd be really interested to hear what you've got to say. Feedback on everything. Feedback on the way that I do this. Feedback on the camera angles. Feedback on the way it's set up. Anything, any info, good or bad. Don't feel weird about saying, oh, I don't think that works. It's a bit naff. I want to hear it because I want these to go on and people to get involved and stuff like that. So I'll do the thread on Facebook in about 5 minutes. Get on there with your pictures. And yeah, enjoy your food. I'm not going to keep you here because your food will go cold. Enjoy it while it's hot. Thank you for joining in. Keep your eye on the Facebook group for the next one. And also if there's something you want to see me cook, that you want to cook along to, that, you want to see me maybe do a little bit of my take on it, let me know. Give me some ideas for what people want to see. That'd be awesome. So I'm going to leave you guys to it. Thank you very much again. It means a lot. So, and share the page, the group, the Instagram, all the stuff. Subscribe, get your friends involved, tell your family to subscribe. It really, really does help me. So yeah, thank you, man. I'll see you next time. All done?
Well,
Where's Lil?